Good evening, everyone. My name is Linda Makatiani. I think we can start. For those who join us later, this is being recorded, so they'll be able to join us where we've reached and as well watch it from my YouTube channel. Karibuni sana. Let me just put on my video for a minute or so we can imitate each other nicely. That is me. As I said, my name is Linda Makatiani. I'm very honored to be. Sorry, Ruth, kindly mute. Thank you. Okay, apologies on that. As I said, my name is Linda Makatiani, and I'm welcoming you. I'm your host for today on this webinar where we'll be looking at what do we do when we say we want to do our year-end checkup, and as well setting goals for the new year. I'm looking forward to having this session with you all. As I said, this webinar is being recorded and it's going to be on my YouTube channel. But as we start, I always like to start with a word of prayer. So all protocols observed, all religions respected. We'll bow and pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for everyone who's present here and their families represented. As we start this webinar, help us to be able to reflect with thanksgiving on the year that has been and look upon us with favor as we plan and start 2025. Let us put into action what will be shared today, and we ask that you guide us now and into the new year. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Yeah. So karibuni, allow me to put my camera off as we go through the session. But I'm very happy to have you all here. For those joining us now, we've just started. My name is Linda Makatiani. I'm your host for today. I'm an investing coach, a wealth strategist, and a financial literacy trainer. Today, I'm here in the capacity of a financial literacy trainer, just to take you through what we need to look at, a framework that we can use when we start looking at the year that has been and prepare for the year that is to come. Yeah. So throughout this session, what we'll ideally be covering is what did we, at the start of 2024, what did we set out to do? Because I know for most of us at the beginning of the year, we sat and we had all these aspirations that we were thinking, and maybe for some of us, we wrote them down and were like, by the end of 2024, this is what I would like to have accomplished. And now we are counting down to the end of the year, in the last month of the year. And it's time to start reflecting. And as we're reflecting, we're asking ourselves, what did we set out to do at the start of 2024, or even just towards the end of 2023, as we're looking forward to the start of 2024? And then now that we've had 11 months plus a few days, what have we managed to achieve? Yeah. And during this time as well, what have we learned, so that now those can be lessons that we carry with us into 2025. Yeah, and this just takes us being very, very honest with ourselves. So this is an individual discussion, an internal individual discussion you're having. I say you're having like an internal conversation, what we normally say between you, yourself, yeah. We say me, myself, and I, yeah. So, and because you're self-reflecting, then you have the opportunity to be very, very honest about it for you to be able to gain the best. So ideally, this is what we are looking at. What did we set out to do at the start of the year? What have we achieved so far? And what have we learned along the way? Yeah. Now, it's very important to be able to take some time and do a review. So it doesn't have to be at the end of the year only. A review can be done on a quarterly basis. So after every 3 months, you take some time off and see at the start of the first month, where was I? And this is 3 months down the line, what have I been able to do? So when you take those periodic times to do a check-in on yourselves, then it becomes easier for you now to figure out is what I set out to do working? Am I going in the right direction? Is there anything that I can be able to do? Maybe I need to change course. And now when you take those periodic check-in sessions, they become really helpful. You can be able to do that. So a year-end checkup provides you an opportunity to have like a comprehensive assessment of your financial health. So for me, I always look at it like, when you're sick and you go into triage, and they will be looking at your pressure, they'll check your pressure, they'll check your weight, your height, and all that. So this is you taking yourself into your own internal triage and trying to see, so what did I set out to do? What have I done so far? What can I be able to do? And through that process, you are looking for the things that you've managed to do. You're noting them down, and you're taking time to celebrate that progress that you have made. And maybe the challenges that you've had, the mistakes that you have made, you look at them and you're thinking, this is a lesson for me. What lesson can I be able to extract from this so that I can be able to do better as I go? And then as well, it gives you some level of clarity. So even as you are looking towards the year that is to come, you understand what you've been through, and you have now like a slightly better and clearer roadmap to be able to forge ahead. Now, when you think about this, you can really see the importance of taking time to do a financial review. And as I said, it doesn't have to be at the end of the year, though it's very critical for you as well to do it at the end of the year. So it's a culmination of all the quarters that you've managed to do, and then now you're looking for this 11 months plus a few days. What have I been able to achieve? Yeah. So as I said, when you're able to sit, take that time and sit and look through what I've done, it gives you a direction for the future. You're able to see, am I going, am I on the right track? Do I need to change? Is there something I need to be able to do? Empower myself maybe with a course like this so that it can help me. And then you're able now to see, where am I? And the strategy that I had set out to work with at the beginning of the year, is it still applicable? Are there any changes that have happened in my life that now require me to be able to change the strategy, or maybe just adjust it a bit? So if you don't do the review, then you won't be able to. You can just be going on blindly thinking you're working towards achieving the goals, and yet you need to readjust the strategy a bit. And as well, as we've said, when you're looking through what you've managed to achieve, even sometimes the lessons, they motivate you. You see where you had started. If it was, let's say, an example of, I had said I'm going to save some money so that December I can take my family somewhere, and you're looking where you had started in January, maybe at 0. At the end of January, you had 3,000, and you've managed, and now you are maybe at 30,000. So it's that keeps you, that allows you to to gain that motivation that you're on the right track, and you can keep going despite the challenges that come with it. So when we talk of the financial checkup, a year-end financial checkup, and goal setting, I use a framework that we call R.A.P. Now, R.A.P is where we are taking time to reflect. Then once we reflect, we assess, and then we plan. So when we are looking at reflecting, we look at them separately. But when you're looking at reflecting, this is us taking a moment and looking on the past year, the year that is about to end, so that you can be able to understand, as we said, what has worked, what didn't work, and why. These are questions as you're trying to answer. As you're trying to answer them, then you're moving on to the next step, which is the assess. And assess is where you're looking at your current financial health. Yeah. And this is where you are seeing, where am I financially now? Have things changed? Did I take on another job? Have I gotten a pay increment? Or maybe, I took another job and I took a lower salary. Or maybe my obligations have grown, maybe we are family, we got a baby. So now the financial responsibilities are more. So when you take that time to assess where you are currently, you're able to gain clarity on, well, how do I fit in the goals that I am looking to achieve within my current financial status. And then once you're able to honestly do that, then now you're able to plan. And the plan is where now you're coming out to set clear and actionable goals for the new year, so that now you're able to set strategy that is going to take you forward based on your current financial status. Yeah, so we just look at them each separately. So the first one is reflect. Allow me to mute, apologies. So the first one, as we said on the R.A.P framework, is reflect. And when we are reflecting, we are looking at what went well. What are those financial achievements that we can celebrate? Did I start the year saying I'm going to set up this emergency fund or this sinking fund, and I want by the end of the year to have saved at least 30,000? And as at now, maybe you already are at that 30,000, or you are close to it, so that by the end of the year, you'd have attained that amount that you are working towards. So those are celebrations, those achievements that you can be able to celebrate. And as you said, start motivate you. Did I say I'm going to start investing and start buying stocks with the little that I have? And you've managed to do that. Did you have a maybe a debt that was, it's psychologically disturbing you, and you're thinking, I really need to pay down this debt. So you've allocated a certain amount of money in your budget to be able to pay down that debt, and you've managed to do that, diligently, consistently. So when you're looking at what went well, this gives you an opportunity to celebrate all those, however small those wins are, because sometimes I think we want to celebrate the big ones. If you started at maybe 1,000 at the beginning of the year, and you are looking maybe to reach 20,000, and currently you're maybe just halfway there, or you're at 15,000, that is still a small win to celebrate, because you've moved from 0 or maybe that 1 to that 15. Yeah. And then you're also looking at what then can I do to improve? Yeah. So you're identifying those areas that you struggled with. Was it overspending? Were there emergencies that maybe now made me not be able to save up to the amount that I was working towards? So it's looking at all those ones. So you celebrate however small the wins, and you're looking then, what can I be able to improve? Because 11 months is a long time. A lot has happened within our environment. And so it's just being able to appreciate that nothing is constant, change is inevitable. And it's now for us to morph ourselves into that change, so that we can be able to fully optimize the opportunities that come with the changes that happen in our life, in our lives. Yeah, so that's the first one. We are reflecting. And then once we reflect, we assess. And in assessment, we are analyzing our current financial health. So we are looking at our income and expenses. We are looking at our budget. Are we living within our means? However much money is coming in, is a lot more going out that is sending us into debt, because now we can't be able to afford our lifestyle? Or, as I said, is there something, a new change that has happened in your life? Maybe your income has decreased with everything that was happening with the economy, or maybe you have you got a baby, or you moved, or you lost your job. So all those ones, it's looking at that and seeing, so am I trying to get myself within, am I living within my capabilities? Then you're looking at, in terms of debt, do I have any debt? What are my current debt levels? Am I paying them down as consistently as I should? And then you're looking at your savings. So how much do I have? Did I set out to set up an emergency fund? Did I do it? What percentage have I been able to accomplish so far? I'm at 20% of my target amount, but even if I am there, am I consistently saving? Have I allocated some funds on my budget to be able to allocate to savings? If I have investments, or I started out on investments, am I being diligent with my investment journey? Am I trying to put the little that I can, the one that I'm comfortable within my budget as well? Because for me, I always say when you're starting out your investment journey, it is a journey, it's a long-term journey. So you don't want to over squeeze yourself. You want to put an amount aside for your investment that is comfortable for you, that fits within your budget, because then you can always adjust it upwards as your financial situation changes for the better. And if you started out your investment journey, are you growing it? Have you been diligent in putting that money aside, buying the stocks or buying that T-bill or the bond that you had said you wanted to buy? Have you diversified? Are you sticking to your investment strategy and all that? So you are assessing all this from your income, your budget, your debt levels, your savings, the targets and what you've managed to achieve, and your investment portfolio as well. Yeah. So you take time to look at that because this now is your financial health. And then once you do that, so you have reflected, you've seen where you've come from, you've picked the lessons, you've celebrated the wins, you've assessed your current situation, you understand the money that is coming in, the money that is going out, your debt levels, your saving levels, your investment portfolio. So now you're looking, so I want to be able to now plan for 2025. And when you're planning, you're setting goals. So you're setting goals and you have to set them in threes so that you don't feel overwhelmed. So you set them out as, what are my short-term goals? And these are the goals that you're looking to achieve within 2025. Yeah. So, and you will look at saving avenues where they are low risk and easily could be easily liquidated, So you're looking at what options do I have to put my money where it is working for me, but I can easily be able to access it if maybe I need it in the next 6 months or 9 months or within the year. So those are your short-term goals. Then you have your medium-term goals. These are the goals you're looking to achieve between 1 to 5 years. Yeah. And then with these ones now, you can, because of the longer horizon, you can look at what are some of the avenues I can be able to invest this money. I can take a bit more risk because we know the higher the risk, the higher the return. I can be able to take a bit more risk based on my risk tolerance, not just looking at the reward. Based on your risk tolerance, and then now you can take up those opportunities. So you could be saying, okay, so maybe I want to be able to start putting money aside to buy a car in the next 2-3 years. So because I cannot put the money down now, what I will do is I'll start investing. So I will put money in a money market fund, and then after a year, I'll take a portion of it, I put it in a bond, in a 2-year bond, so that by the end of the 3rd year, I've been able to earn good amount of interest from the bond. My bond has matured, and the money I'm also saving in my sinking fund. So when I pull that together, I'm able to buy the car that I want to get. So you're giving yourself that horizon. In the next 3 years, this is what I want to do. Then you have your long-term goals, and these are your financial aspirations that you're looking at 5+ years. I want to build that home, that retirement home, either in the village or maybe buy some land somewhere and build like a nice small cottage for myself. That's something, maybe looking at my current financial situation, I cannot be able to do it now. But if I plan myself properly, I can be able to do it in the next 10 or 15 years. I have my children who need to go to university. I want to be able to start saving so that the only issue would be which university do you want to go to, and not let's look at our financial situation then, so we can be able to plan round for that. So basically, this is where you're looking at wealth accumulation for your retirement, for long-term goals that you're working. As you said, it could be your family, it could be a retirement home, it could be education for your children, or maybe just even your own retirement planning, where you're seeing, if I'm going to retire at 60 and God gives me good life and I live to 90, plus I do not have a source of income. Can I be able to start creating a source of passive income to be able to cater for my later years? And now you do, you start now. And because of the longer horizon, you're able now to look at opportunities that you can take on more risk. So you might think, okay, maybe let me look at stocks investing perhaps, and I look at the stocks that are within my risk tolerance. Very, very important. So with that longer time framework, then you're able now to just start accumulating slowly and get to the point where now the passive income is able to sustain you in your later years. So that's the framework you use. You reflect on the year that has been, and I always insist on an honest reflection. Remember, this you're doing it if you have a financial coach, if you have a coach, like for me and my clients, you would have, because we have been at it for the whole year, we would have a sit down and go through what the year has been like for the client. So if you have one, then you can do that. But even if you're doing it, if you're having your own money date and you're going through that session by yourself, it's very, very important to be honest with yourself, where you have been, the challenges, the struggles that you have faced, the wins that you have had, your current, when you're doing the assessment, your current financial situation. Again, it is accepting, yes, you can work on it, it can be better, but this is where you are right now. So use that as an opportunity for you to be able to map a way to be better. So honesty is very important during this, when you're doing this, when you're utilizing the R.A.P framework. Yeah. So when you're setting goals, again, I think this is one of the goals framework that is out there, where we are looking at, when you're setting your goals for 2025, please make sure they are SMART. And SMART means they're very specific, they are measurable, they are achievable, they are relevant to you, and they are time bound. So specific, it's like, it's very clear. What am I working? And it needs to be very clear to you. What are you working? Because you have to be the first person to buy in to achieving that goal. And once you have defined, this is what I want, I want to be able to achieve, whether it's a short-term goal, a medium-term goal, or a long-term goal. And then, is it measurable? How are you going to track that progress? If I want to be able to save, as we said, like maybe 24,000, can I be able to track that? How am I going to do that? Yeah. And then now we have achievable. As we've said, when you're doing the R.A.P, and when you're assessing your current financial health, is it achievable? Is it something that I can be able to work on, and it's realistic based on my current financial situation? Then is it relevant? Because sometimes we set goals that take us away from our main goal. So you have that long-term goal, you have your goal for the next 5 years or so, but you have these short-term goals that can feed into that long-term goal. So you have to make sure there's an alignment of your goals and your values as well as you're setting these goals. And then you have to give yourself a time limit. Otherwise, you might just feel like, oh, I still have time to work on it. And before you know it, you realize that you've not really made any headway, because you'd not challenged yourself by saying, can I try and achieve this within this timeline? Yeah. And when you set that deadline, your mindset now changes to, what can I be able to do today, this week, this month, so that by the end of 3 months, when maybe I'm sitting to do my 3-month review, I can be able to say, I've seen some progress. Yeah. So an example of like a SMART goal would be telling myself, okay, now I'm looking at my current financial situation and the way things are going. I am not so sure what's going to happen, maybe with my job or with my business. And I'm seeing the importance of having an emergency fund. So I want to be able to, by the beginning of 2025, to set up this fund. So I am going to save. Yeah, so this becomes one of your goals. I'm going to save 24,000 in a money market fund by the end of 2025. And now break it down. Now, how do I make it measurable and achievable? So I do not want to just say, I will wait for December and put that 25 to the 24,000. So you're saying, for me, it is achievable to do 2,000 every month. So I'm going to start putting aside 2,000 every month from January, end of January 2025. so that by the end of December 2025, I will have this 24,000. Yeah. In between, of course, again, I always say if you get, maybe you do something and you get some money, it is always good. So you can be able to put that money into the emergency fund. So you need to be very specific. You need to be able to measure this goal that you're setting out to, and it needs to be achievable. Don't set over over the top goals, because then you become demotivated when you realize that you are not able to work on that goal and to achieve it. Make it very relevant for you, and see how it feeds into the longer term goal, especially if it's a short term goal. And for that, to be able to challenge yourself and motivate yourself, make it time bound. Give yourself that time limit. I want to be able to accomplish this by this time. Yeah. Now, when you're in that process of setting goals or trying to achieve, or even that assessment process, you will notice there are those obstacles and distractions that we normally face. So then how do we handle some of this? It's very good to be able to understand to take time to look into some of these obstacles and distractions, so that now we're able to know how do we counter them. So one is on the fear of failure, yeah, where we are thinking, I set out, maybe now, based on history, into beginning of 2023, I set out to achieve this goal. I was not able to do it. 2024, I've struggled. Now 2025, what makes me think it's going to be different? All those, there's always that fear of failure. But how you counter that is by working on a growth mindset. A growth mindset is where you're telling yourself, it's not that I will not be able to do it, it's that I've just not managed to do it yet. Yeah. Yet there's that window of opportunity. There's that window where you're saying, I can still be able to do something, change the course of this. It will not always result in failure. I can be able to accomplish something. So when you develop that growth mindset, you start noticing that you're looking at the opportunities. You're not really focusing on the negatives. You're looking at the opportunities that are there. Yeah. And then another one is a lack of clarity. You've set very vague or unrealistic goals. I want to be able to go to Mombasa, to pay for myself to go to Mombasa by the end of the year, or to go to Dubai by the end of the year. So really, okay, yes, you set that is, but it's not very specific. What do you need? It's not measurable. Yes, you want to go, but in terms of funds, how much do you need? How much can you start saving now? If you are to be told 6 months down the line, measure that, of what percentage have you been able to achieve? How do you do that? So when you don't have that clarity on your goals, then it becomes very hard as well for you to be able to work towards and achieve, because then you don't really know what you're working towards. Yes, you want something, but you don't know how to work towards it. So how to counter that is, as we've said, use the SMART framework, what we've just spoken about. Make sure that the goal you're setting is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. So when you use that removes that, that gives it more clarity, gives your goal more clarity, even for you to be able to create a clear roadmap on how to achieve it. Another is limited resources, where you're looking at, we have so many responsibilities out here. You are working, if maybe you're a husband and a father, your wife and a mother, you have your other extended family, maybe you're still in school as well. So you have a family and you're in school. So all those responsibilities, and you're thinking, so what time, I really want to work on this, but what time will I be able to do this? So you find yourself overwhelmed to the point where now you're not really able to work on your goals. So for me, I always say, for this one, use the time blocking technique, where you say, in those many hours, we all have the same hours in a day. You consciously set aside some time and say, for this 1 hour, if it's Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m., I am going to take myself, sit somewhere, and be able to figure out what tasks do I need to work on for me to accomplish this goal. Yeah. Do I need to set automatic transfers so that when the money hits my account, it goes directly into the emergency fund or that sinking fund for that trip that I want to take? Now that I'm turning 30, or all those ones. It's being able now to take to set that time, because if you set that time, then you find yourself figuring out how do I fit it in within the schedule that I have. But if you just wait for time to come and you say, oh, now I'm free, maybe I can be able to do that. No. So make it part of your calendar, so that if it is, I'm trying to get more knowledge, I want to go into investments, I want to do stock investing, but I'm not so sure how to go about it. So I want to have some time to sit down with Linda so she can take me through it. Then you're setting that time and saying, okay, so this, for me, it is on my calendar. This is when I'm going to be sitting down to do this, or I want to be able to listen to that podcast or watch that webinar again, so I can be able to understand how to properly budget and all that. Setting that time, putting it aside on your calendar so that you can be able to and sticking to that time that you have managed to block. Yeah, there are also external challenges. Yes, you are going through your savings journey, you've managed to put a bit of money aside, and then an emergency occurs, and now you have to take the funds out. Or maybe restructuring at work, and the option you've been given is to take a pay cut, and you don't have and you're looking around and you don't really have an option. So many things can be able to happen. So with those ones, it's as well as I said, we all don't know what tomorrow holds, but it's to be able to prepare ourselves today for tomorrow. So it's looking and seeing, how am I preparing myself for those emergencies? Anything can happen tomorrow. So try and prepare yourself today for that. If it's that emergency fund, make it a priority. So before you put money into a sinking fund, make sure at least there's an emergency fund out there. Then you have the distractions of impulse spending, where you get some money before you've even thought, or maybe I can put this money in my emergency fund, or I can put this money in and buy a few stocks so I can earn a bit in dividends. You find yourself impulse spending. Right now, in the month of November and December, we have so many sales, year-end sales, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all those ones, and you find yourself if the notion of getting discounts, and you're making unnecessary purchases. These are not purchases that are going to add value to you, or even maybe help you achieve the goals that you've set out to do. Then you have procrastination, where you're saying, I'll start in February. January is a very tough month. I'll start in February. And then February, something comes up and you're like, even March is fine. I can start in March. And before you know it, you are in October and you've not done anything much. Yeah. So with this one, I always say, look for, if you're that kind of person who's you easily procrastinate, look for an accountability partner. This is someone who's going to put you on check. They'll be like, okay, so we said we are doing this in January. Can you see the progress? So it could be a friend who understands. It could be a spouse. It could also be your coach now, who's walking that journey with you. And then we have social pressures. This is where you're comparing your financial journey to others. You're thinking, me where I am now, will I ever reach where that person is? What's even the point of starting? But you always have to remember, even that person that you're looking at started where you are. Yeah. So instead of you sitting back and saying, I will never reach there, remember there's someone who's going to come after you, and you'd want them to look at you and say, okay, now I'm motivated. I am where the Ruth was or Ivy was a year back, but see where they are now. So even I can get there, So when you look at that, yes, be challenged, but don't envy, don't look at someone's journey. We all have different journeys, and through our journeys, we have the lessons that we are supposed to pick from them. So for you, it's to look and see and tell yourself, this is my journey. It is individual to me. It's bespoke to me. So take the lessons, and make sure you are at a space where someone else will be looking at you and saying, wow, I like the milestones that they've been able to achieve. I want to be able to get there as well. So today I want to give you a task where I want us to sit back and try and see, as we are doing our R.A.P assessment, identify of this, which is your top distraction. And then now when you blocked that time to do your year-end checkup and goal setting, and we've discussed some of the solutions, is to figure out, this is my distraction. This is what I feel maybe in 2023, 2024. This has been my top distraction. It can be procrastination. It can be the impulse spending. And then this is what I'm going to do about it. As we've said, part of what we are doing is to pick the lessons, pick the lessons from it. And picking those lessons is understanding, this is what I'm struggling with, and then now looking and saying, this is how I'm going to be able to work on it, so that now 2025 can be different. So that is my year-end, I want a task for all of us to identify what's the top distraction, and then figure out that one solution that you can be able to implement that will help you to be better and do better in 2025. Yeah. So just looking at some of the counters that we can be able to employ as we work on overcoming the obstacles that are there when you're working to achieve our goals. Yeah. And as we've said, the first thing we need to do is we need to be honest and recognize and accept that these are the challenges we are facing as we are working towards our goals. That is why maybe it took me 2 years instead of 1 year to achieve this goal, or maybe that's why I'm still struggling with it. So once we recognize that, then now we can be able to figure out the best solutions, the best counters for them. So for me, my top tips when it comes to overcoming obstacles is, one, sometimes we set goals and we set them so large. We need to break them down into smaller steps. As you say, this is what we want to achieve at the end of the year. You can break it down to months. So every month I'm going to save that 2,000 bob. If maybe you're in the gig economy and you get gigs and you get money every weekly, it's again, you can also break it down to on a weekly basis. Say every week, out of this money, I'm going to put 15 or 20% aside for this goal that I'm working towards. So you break them into smaller goals, and now even as you're looking at the tasks that you need to do, even those tasks you can break them down. I always say, have those day goals or weekly goals, and not just quarterly or yearly goals. Yeah. And as you said, use deadlines and accountability partners. This is where you set yourself and say, I want to be able to do this and make it realistic. I want to be able to do this in the first quarter of the year. And then at the end of the first quarter, sit and R.A.P, assess and see, where am I, what have I been able to accomplish, and all that. If you find you're struggling, it's now looking to see, can I get an accountability partner, someone who can be able to walk with this journey with me, so that when I get stuck somewhere, they're my sounding board. I can get back to them, talk to them and see, this is where I am, this is what I'm struggling with. And then from there, they can be able to figure out how to help you. Sometimes it's just having that in your head that, at the end of this month or at the end of 3 months, I will be having a sit down with Linda and we'll be looking through the progress you've made. I really have to have made some progress. I don't want to go there and see I've not made some progress. When you have that accountability partner and I'll be reporting something, I want to be reporting something positive as opposed to negative. So that kind of motivates you. And the other bit as well is, if you are the impulse spender, you see a sale and you stand there and you convince yourself why you really need it, why it's the best decision, why that discount is God sent. If you miss it, this is a chance. Why did you even walk down this road towards this shop? It's God who sent you there. All those things. You need to be able to, you start automating your saving and your investments. So you're saying, if I'm setting aside 2,000 into my fund, then you just make sure that 2,000 goes directly into the fund. When the money comes in, it goes directly into, if it is your CHUMS account, it goes directly into your CHUMS savings account. If you're buying some stocks, deposit that funds into your brokerage account, and make the necessary purchases for the stocks that you want. And the other bit, again, which I guess it's with this digital age, is we have to work on minimizing our digital footprints and the time we spend on our gadgets, because that time we spend is what will give us the social pressures, where we are trying to compare ourselves with all the people, influencers we are seeing online. We see all these deals and we convince ourselves that they are the best opportunities, and I have some money on M-Pesa, then you just find yourself buying. So if you can be able to set limits, say, especially in the evening, I'm going to get home, if my sleep time is 9 o'clock, let me sleep at 9 o'clock. Wake up in the morning, let it not be the first thing I do. So you're minimizing opportunities where you can easily get distracted into spending money on things that do not add to help you achieve your goal. Yeah. So, and I think with that, for me, it's just encouraging everyone when you sit down to do our year-end checkups. It's very easy to get demotivated when you're looking at what you had set out to do and what you've managed to do, and now there's only a few days left to the end of the year. You might feel like, wow. The hurdles have been very many, these challenges. I know we've had a very turbulent year this year, especially here in Kenya. We set out very optimistic at the beginning of the year, but so much has happened to each of us just individually, and even within our economy, that has affected the way we've managed to handle our money. And when you're looking at that, when you're being honest and looking at what you set out to achieve and what you've managed to achieve and what you've not managed to achieve, and even what to look forward to in the next year, we are likely to get a bit, worried and all that. But for me, it's I like this where we think of it as success is not final. Yeah. So if for those ones where you're looking at and saying, I'm happy that I've been able to achieve this, yes, celebrate that as a milestone. But then remember again, it's also now that creates now a step for you to go even further. So if you set out, let's say maybe to create an emergency fund, to start working on your emergency fund, and you've done that 2,000, and now you are at maybe like 22,000 because you've done it consistently, you've not removed money, you've not had any emergencies and all that. So you're looking at that and you're giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, yes, I'm happy of at least this I've managed to succeed. But then remember, then there is next year that is coming, this 2025. So can we be able to build on this? Now that if you've been managed to fully set up your emergency fund, good. Can we now start looking at, can we invest so that we can be able to get some passive income and also pump up maybe into the emergency fund, or now pump some of that into a sinking fund. So even that success is not final. Remember, we've said your short-term goals feed into your medium-term goals and they feed into your long-term goals. So the success of your short-term goals means now you can embark on the medium-term and the final one. Yeah. And as well, if you're looking and you're thinking all these struggles and challenges, I didn't manage to do this. Failure is not fatal. As we've said time and time again, today, we are learning from the challenges that we've had, the struggles that we have faced. And we are looking at them and seeing what lessons can we carry with us so that in 2025 I might be better. Maybe I did start investing, I bought some stocks, and I'm feeling like my stocks portfolio is not fully optimized. Most of my stocks are in the red. What do I need to do? Do I need to take some time so that I can understand better the stocks that fit my risk tolerance, and what are they? So then that means I have to set time aside and maybe get a session or watch some webinars on stock investing so that I can be able to do better in 2025. So I feel like, yes, I have struggled on that front, but I am not going now to give up. I'm going to look for ways to be able to do better in 2025. Yeah, so it's that courage, and I'm hoping when you're doing the R.A.P framework, honestly as you can, you're able to gain that courage to continue. And as you continue working, celebrating your wins and working on working using the lessons that you have learned, you find yourself one step better than you were in today's 4th of December 2024. Yeah. And with that, I will take any questions that you may have or any comments before we wrap it up and do Christmas wishes for everyone. I can't believe the year is over. Wow. I feel like this year has really flown to me, but I'm happy. As I'd said, this session has been recorded, and so have the other sessions we've had so far. This webinar is brought to you in collaboration with CHUMS, who are collaborating with me to just improve people's financial literacy. So we've done, this is the 7th webinar we're hosting. We've done some webinars on budgeting. We've done webinars on savings. And as we are coming to the end of the year, we thought very important for us to be able to have this session where we can look at how do we then conduct that year-end review, and how do we set ourselves up for a better 2025. So from it, thank you to the CHUMS team for this collaboration, but I'm happy to take any questions on financial year-end review or goal setting as it is. You can chat your question, or you can also unmute and ask. Let me leave that quote on. I feel it's very important as we go through this process of year-end review and the goal setting, even as we ask questions. Or even just comments throughout the session, anything that has resonated with you and you'd like to comment on it as well. Thank you, Eve. Yes. It does, yeah. Because I think sometimes when we are looking at, when you're looking at what we've maybe not managed to accomplish, we can get quite demotivated. But yes. Yes, Dr. Beatrice, I can unmute.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for such an informative session, and as well as the way you have uplifted us, because this financial journey is, it can be overwhelming, especially when you come to the end of the year and you realize you have not achieved the goals you set to achieve.
Yes.
My question is, in a scenario where probably you have quite some debt and you don't have an emergency fund, from your experience, what would be best to start tackling? And then my second question is that you've mentioned, I think, in passing, that you're available as an accountability partner or as a coach. So maybe you can touch a bit about what you do and how we can get access to you and your services. Thank you for a wonderful webinar.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Okay, so on the first one, where you're looking at, you want to set up an emergency fund, but you have a loan that you need to service. For me, this one's, I would say we look at your budget and see how we can be able to balance both. Because remember, if you do not set up an emergency fund, we do not know what tomorrow holds. So in as much as we are servicing a loan, we may be faced with another emergency, which now will end up increasing our debt later on in the future. So it's looking at, so what is currently coming in, how much do we need to pay in terms of to service our loan, that repayment amount, then can we be able to squeeze in an amount where we can start working on accumulating for an emergency fund? Because now the emergency fund is it becomes your buffer, your protection from even more increasing your debt load as well. So this would, of course, it depends from person to person, your income levels, your financial responsibilities, and all that. But it will be looking at what is currently your budget, and can we then set aside some funds so that you are able to start building your emergency fund, even as you continue servicing your debt. And that I hope that is helpful. And then in terms of coaching, yes, so I do, thank you. So I do investment coaching. What I do is I work with clients through just getting to understand the investment opportunities here. And I have several packages. I think I will share, I'll share I'm on Instagram, it's linda.makatiani, just my names on the social medias. And on YouTube, it's Finance for Families, which is finance and then the number 4, families. I'll share that as well on the chat. But so what we do is we look at where you are currently and what you would want to start with. It could be maybe just setting up that emergency fund. It could be now investing in stocks or investing in bonds and T-bills, and now take you through that session and walk with you through that that journey as well. You know, set you up with the account opening and that. And you know, on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, sit down and review and see where you are and what can be done about it. So I do that for individuals. I do that for families. I'm very passionate about families, growing families, coming together so that they can be able to start building wealth together from the young ones. I am a mother of 3, so I believe that even the young ones need to be involved in this, age appropriate, of course, but yes. So I will share my handles with you, but it's for all social media. It's linda.makatiani. From there, you can be able to get the link that will connect you to the coaching packages that I have. And as well, my YouTube channel is Finance for Families. Yeah. Yes. So I will share the YouTube channel. And as well, but then now that I've spoken about it, I've just remembered how important it is for those of us who have families. Please, when you're doing this goal setting, it also needs to be make it a family. Yeah, make it a family event as well, because when we come together as a family to set our goals, let's work on something, encourage the younger kids to see the importance of goal setting and actually working towards our goals. That is how we can be able to build, you know, financial savvy citizens of the future. Yeah, and coming together, you know, it's going to help us strengthen our bonds as a family, because now we have those common goals where we are all working towards it. We have those shared values that we're able to build and also pass those ones on to the younger generation. Yeah, we want to have a generation where people can openly and freely talk about money and and help each other learn and learn from one another. You know, I feel like the struggle comes because our parents didn't really talk that much to us about money, about setting goals, about saving, about investing and all that. So we get stuck. So let's be the ones who change that, and that. And as well, within our families, we have so many people can come up with so many ideas on things that we can do to be able to achieve these goals. Yeah. So let's not struggle alone trying to work on these goals. If you have a supportive family, it's very good to be able to share. They can also share with you one or two ideas here and there, to be able to work on your goals. So my YouTube is funny. Okay, so that's my YouTube channel. There you'll be able to find all the other webinars that we've had before on budgeting, on savings as well. And again, if you have any ideas or any topics that you'd want us to be able to do webinars on, you can share that with me as well. My email, I can share my contacts. So my contacts are there. You can reach out, consult@financeforfamilies.com, or just drop me a WhatsApp message or give me a call, and then we can be able to structure something for you. You say it's financial literacy for children, please. Yes, I actually have a session next week, but this is more for parents, on how to be able to guide their children to start their savings journey from a very young age. So if you can, if you look at my Instagram page, you'd be able to find the details, but I'll also share the details for that one. And that's a session for parents on just taking you through how to be able to guide your children to start their savings journey, because now we need to get them starting their savings journey early. Yeah. And when I say early, I mean as early as when they understand what money is, which is 5-6 years there. So that's a session I'm hosting next week. I'm hoping you'd be able to join us for that. Mm. Thank you, Mary. I've shared the handle for my YouTube. Angela says, please share more tips on impulse spending. I feel like this is the devil. Okay, I feel like when it comes to impulse spending, one, it's where if you find yourself, if you're one of those people who maybe you walk into the store and you give yourself reasons to buy the things. Yes, I really need this, or I really want this, or this one is on discount, let me just buy it. And then you find maybe it's a perishable, you reach home, you already had, and now because it's a lot, it's likely to go bad. One tip I would say, please work with a list and then always try to stick to that list, because you've made that list from home, you've seen what is missing, and when you enter that shop, stick to that list. If you find yourself struggling to sticking to the list, go shopping with someone who will help you to stick to that list. Yeah. So it could be your spouse or just someone who you know every time you are there with your list, or even your child, because you don't want to pass on that to them like, oh yeah, we need this, but it's not on the list. Yeah. And make sure you tell them, please make sure that we are sticking to this list because this is what we need, and we're not going to buy the wants. Yeah. Remember, we are trying to pass on these financial skills to our children. So we need to be at our best. So go with someone who you know will keep you accountable, so that if it is that list, we follow that list and we stick to that list to the T. For all the discounts and everything, for me, I always find if you've set yourself up for something, and that's why when you talk about when you're setting your goals, you need to be very specific about it. You need to buy into your goal. And when you fully buy into your goal, you are like, if it is that car that I want to go to buy in the next 2 years, and you're looking at something now that is on discount that you really don't need, but you feel like you want it, you know, it's a good price and all that stuff. Opportunity cost, always look and see, if I buy this now, I'm robbing myself the chance of getting that car, maybe even sooner. When your mindset starts working like that, you'll see that you're looking at all these discounts and sales very differently, because you will not see them as a positive. You'll see them as, this is robbing me something that I am working to get towards the future. So try that and see if it works. Yeah, but I hope at least that helps you a bit. And I think with that, I would want to close the session by just saying thank you very much for everyone who's managed to join us today for this session. It's going to be up on my YouTube channel. I will share the link to the YouTube channel for you to be able to watch it maybe later if you want to, and share as well. If you do watch, or maybe if you think of questions after, feel free to reach out. My contacts are there, and then we can be able to look into that. As well, do reach out to the CHUMS team. If you're already saving the CHUMS, or you want to set up and save the CHUMS, please do so. Let it be one of your goals for 2025, though it's very a user-friendly app that helps you track your savings, and either as an individual or as a group. So it's a very good way to start the year to work on especially your savings goals. But thank you so much. And with that, wow, I think it's still early, but I think because this is our last webinar for the year, allow me to say have a blessed Merry Christmas and a very, very Happy New Year. And I look forward to meeting you again next year in our first webinar of the year. But thank you so much for joining us and being here today. Do reach out between now and the new year if you have any questions, or you'd want to take up any sessions with me on an individual basis. But thank you so much. Yes, season greetings to you too, to all of you, and enjoy and be blessed during this season.